Welcome to the Draft Brewery. Today I will be going over my video replay analysis of the second place finish at SPC 30.06 with a new brew, a Rakdos grind mono 2-for-1 deck that I was playing in my first event with this deck. Lost to a Boros Heroic deck in the finals, which is a pretty solid deck. The event had 20 players. Everybody reported their deck, which is pretty sweet. Just want to highlight how diverse the metagame is. We had the top 4 Jeskai tokens deck, another Rakdos aggro deck, and then all flavors of control, Orzhov, Izzet, Jeskai, and then a mono red aggro deck in the top 8. Overall, 4 Jeskai decks, some tokens, some control. 3 Boros decks, some tokens, some heroic. 2 Rakdos. Aggro-control is kind of what I call mine, since I can interact with the opposing deck, but I'm really just trying to grind them out with 2-for-1s and present more threats than they can deal with, and just kind of have an aggressive stance by delving out creatures fast and just playing a lot of threats that are hard to remove. You gotta have very specific answers for the different kinds of threats that I present. Used Gwynedd as a space filler. I had someone that needed to enter the tournament late, so they got a round 1 loss to Gwynedd, the round 1 destroyer. It's pretty cool. Got a Golgari Dredge deck, Gruul Monsters deck, which has won many events in the past, so sometimes it doesn't do that well, but that's alright. Mono red, and then all flavors of control. Dimir, Izzet, Grixis, Orzhov, Abzan, Azorius, and Esper. So just wanted to highlight how fantastically open the standard pauper format is. It's pretty sweet that you can kind of play whatever you want. So looking at my deck now, let's see here. We've got the Rakdos grind, so 21 lands, 22 effectively with this Traveler's Amulet. Again, I look at this as Evolving Wilds number 5. It searches for a land, fixes color to help keep us consistent, and at the cost of 2 mana. It's a little rough, but it also helps fuel our delve, so it's kind of got a Simian Spirit Guide effect to it as well that I tend to like. Not sure that we can afford more than 1 Radiant Fountain, because I do just have specific colors of double black that we need. Everything else is pretty much single red or single black, but when we're delving and playing spells, we do want to often have Swamp open so that we can play one of our delve spells, which are hiding over to the right over here. There they are. So the payoff for this deck is the full playset of Sultai Scavenger and Gurmag Angler. Shambling Attendants, 3/5 Death Touch for 8. Costs a little bit too much delve and doesn't quite hit hard enough. I like 3/3 Flying Evasion. Sometimes you just need a blocker early. Delving him out early just to stay alive is key. And the evasion is just a little bit better, and 5/5 is obviously quite huge and pretty much just as good as Death Touch, and it costs 1 less mana, so pretty solid to get out there. So other than that, how do I plan on filling my graveyard? Tormenting Voice, Sign in Blood, and Read the Bones all go to the graveyard and draw me 2 cards so that I perpetually hit land drops and cards to fill the graveyard. Dragon Fodder is not very powerful, but going into the graveyard immediately is pretty sweet, and this is not a tokens deck, but having some elements of tokens makes it really annoying for the opponent's removal. So against Twin Bolt, it's not that good, but a card like Scouring Sands isn't that good against me overall. It only hits Dragon Fodder and then this Gear Crafter, which is again another 2-for-1 Sandcrafter mate. What's that card? Sandstep Outcast type card. Lightning Strike gets the nod over things like Twin Bolt and Magma Spray because it deals more damage, and it's very flexible. It can, like Magma Spray, can only hit if they have like a targetable creature, and I just want to fuel delve. So if they don't have a targetable creature, I just want to lightning strike them to the face just to fuel my delve. And I think 3 damage is better than 2 a lot of the times. I have Dragon Feather and Scouring Sands sideboard to deal with tokens, so I don't really think I need Twin Bolt main. I'd rather just deal with other Sultai Scavengers and Vulture Savins and Disciple of Phoenixes and all sorts of other things. So yeah, just a lot of 2-for-1s. Vulture Savin, also attached 2-for-1, which doesn't always get to get his cards. The best scenario is that you play a turn 2 or turn 3 Dragon Fodder Gearcrafter, and then you end up cashing in one of the 1/1s for the card, or sometimes the 2/1. Sometimes they have a 1/3 blocker, and the 1/1 flyer from the Thopter is just better. But yeah, so all these cards cost 2 life, these black card draw spells, so it makes me want some Radiant Fountains, just to counteract that a little bit, since we don't have that much other life gain. But one seemed to work just fine. Beyond that, Flurry of Horns is another sweet 2-for-1 that I've found to just close games out incredibly quickly. And it fuels Delve as well, so it makes future Anglers and Sultai Scavengers easier to cast. And you got the full play set of those right here, as mentioned before. Other than that, sideboard looks like such. So against certain decks, Duress is pretty good, Treasure Cruise, Nullify, Disdainful Stroke, stuff like that. Debilitating Injury is an interesting one. You could put in just like Twin Bolts, right, or Magma Sprays, which we have 4 of, so we kind of wanted Magma Sprays number 5 and 6. But the reason why this gets the nod over Twin Bolt, or even Freaka's Cure, or even Reeve Soul, is because of Nantuko Husk. Played against a Mardu Tokens deck last week that was very good, and almost every red removal spell doesn't deal with it efficiently, and neither would the black 2-mana removal spells. You'd have to go all the way up to the 5-mana removal spells to take care of it, easily. So what I want is just a permanent answer to it. They can sack to it, but the second that the state-based effects are checked at the end of turn, it's going to die. So that's a card that I would like to deal with, and Debilitating Injury is still fine at dealing with any X2. And then even if it can't kill an X2, I can turn their Gurmag Anglers into like a 3/3 while mine are still 5/5s. So it's not completely dead against things that it can't kill, like things that are bigger than X2s. The life gain suite here is a little bit of a mix of Butcher's Glee and Eternal Thirst. Eternal Thirst seems really good against tokens because I have the Scouring Sands and Barrage Boulders to sweep and hopefully get a lot of kills. And if I have a creature with Eternal Thirst on it, ideally Gurmag Angler, he just becomes infinitely large and I gain a whole bunch of life back. And it's a repeatable effect, whereas Butcher Glee is a one-time effect, but it wins the mirror match. And so when the Gurmag Anglers, tend to battle off like any good Sharknado will put 2 anglers against each other, the zombie fishes basically just want to eat each other, and whoever's been given the joyous I don't know, something very ridiculous power. The Crave made Knee Cleaver thinks she was bigger than the dragon. Oh my gosh, I have no idea what that flavor text even means. It just means that the angler is going to eat it, gain 8 life, and you're still going to have an angler and probably win the game. So, card's just great. It's not that great against removal spells, it's just great against cards that are expecting to trade, so Death Touch creatures it's good against as well. But we have other answers to them. The Magma Sprays, Scouring Sands, Barrage Boulders. Sprays are particularly good against the black decks playing the font of Return, trying to Oromancer or, what's that? Dutiful Attendant to their creatures back after they die. It also denies them a card for Delve, so it slows their development of the board a little bit. Instead of 4 Scouring Sands, just went with 3 because I wanted to try 1 Barrage of Boulders. if we often have aggro angler in play, but they have like a bunch of creatures in play, let's say we can't quite break through on the ground, it seems like a pretty sweet one of just to give the falter effect while also serving double duty as the 4th Scouring Sands, and the 2 versus 3 mana shouldn't be too big of an issue. So yeah, so this deck plays out pretty interesting. I thought it would be a good choice against control decks in particular, since I'm kind of an aggro deck and just always going to be drawing cards, which should in turn let me draw creatures to put on the board, and then have some sweet turns where I can play 2 things in one turn. Like if I can ever like play Flurry of Horns and a Grimrock Angler in the same turn or something. Seems like I've diversified my threats. They're all hard to kill. They're hard to sweep away. They require a lot of answers. And the removal in this format is all 1-for-1s, except for, you know, the Fester Gloom, Scouring Sands, Barrage of Boulders type effects, or Twin Bolt again, or, you know, the Grip Tides and Whisk Aways can get the card back, but they still only deal with 1 threat per turn, or at a time. So against that, I thought it'd be good. Against mid-range decks, probably not the super best. I have a little bit of removal, but I don't have, you know, I'm kind of like a mid-range deck, I guess. I have some big creatures, just need to get them in the air or sideboard into like the Butcher's Glee package and hope to beat through their big creatures. And then I think this is a little weak to aggro decks, which is why I have so much removal in the sideboards for aggro decks, to basically help give me time. And all the removal is cards that will hit the graveyard and make the delve creatures good as well. So you just would cut some of the, you know, cards that deal you damage and draw cards like the Avens, the Read the Bone Sign, the Bloods aren't the best cards against the aggro decks, and Flurry of the Horns isn't the best either. So you just kind of shave some of those. You might shave some of the flurries and delve creatures as well, just to kind of diversify it. You don't want 4 delve creatures in hand because you can only get 1 out fast, and then all the rest get stuck in hand. So you kind of want like an even mix. So shaving a few cards is smarter than just going all in on one thing or another. But I'll explain each of my sideboarding thoughts in between each round. So stay tuned for we've got a 3-round Swiss tournament cut to top 8, and that is the tournament. So yeah, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for matches with Rakdos Grind.